I'll be honest with you, the best pork belly that I've ever made in my life was by accident. So we were on a photo shoot, taking videos and photos of all our gear, all the ozbraai gear. And we had the mini braai with the spin basket and a pork belly set on the one side. And that was what we started with. But it was just so busy that we decided to just leave it spinning. We'll have that maybe for lunch or dinner. But it ended up going for like 4.5 to 5 hours. I eventually thought, there's no way we're going to be eating that pork belly because it's going to be dry. But it was probably one of the best pork bellies that I've ever had in my life. So I'm going to try and replicate that today for you, show you how I've done it. And as you can see, it's very straightforward. We don't have a lot of ingredients. I mean, if you don't have a preferred rub, all you need is really salt and pepper and a charcoal or wood fire braai or barbecue. That's all you need. That's it. So let's jump into it. Okay, I've got about a 1.5 kilo pork belly, and as you can see, it's already been scored by the supermarket. But if you have a pork belly that's not scored already, just give it a few slices. So what you want to do is you want to dry the fat, get the pork belly sort of room temperature, and then make sure that it is completely dry. So after we've dried the fat, we are just going to add a bit of salt and pepper. I've got a mixed pepper and salt over here. So I'm just going to give it a very good seasoning of salt and pepper. We've got some signature braai spice here that we'll put on the meaty side. The reason we don't want any sort of rub on the fat is a lot of the rubs have sugars that will caramelize and keep the pork belly soft. So you will never get that crispy pork belly. So a little bit more. Make sure it goes into those cuts. Then we are going to flip it around and we're going to add some spice. So in this case, I'm just going to give it a good seasoning of this signature braai spice. You can use any sort of rub you prefer. Alternatively, just use the salt and pepper. So I'm just covering it almost like a rub. And that's it. Then we're going to add it to our spin basket. Just going to add it this way so that the rubs don't come off. Doesn't matter which side we place in first because this is going to spin on the braai with the rotisserie. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Salt and pepper on the fatty side and then your favorite rub on the other side. So let's get this on the braai. So today I'm going to use a hardwood wood from South Africa called Camel Thorn, and we're going to get our coals started with this, and I'll add some normal Gidgee charcoal later on as needed. Okay, this should take about 40 to 45 minutes to get some nice coals before we're going to add the rotisserie brackets and then the spin basket. We probably still need about 10 to 15 minutes, then these coals will be ready. Now it's time for us to add the rotisserie brackets, left and right. We are ready to add the spin basket. I'm just going to take the coals and spread it out to the sides. We don't want that extreme heat in the middle. You can add a drip tray in the middle if you are worried for flare-ups, but other than that, just make sure add it to the sides. And this is how you control the heat where there's no adjustability with the rotisserie. We control the heat with where we place the charcoal. So that should be good. It's very hot at the moment. And now we are adding pork belly. Touch that, make sure it's good, and switch it on. So we're going to be running it for 4 to 4.5 hours, maybe 5 hours. It's been about 4.5 hours. This one is ready, so I'm gonna take it off now. All right, this pork belly is gonna be phenomenal. It's been spinning for a couple of hours, so I'm gonna take it out the spin basket, put it on my chopping block or chopping board, and I'm just going to slice it into little strips. It's been resting for about 10 minutes. So I'm just going to take this out, put it on my chopping board, and look at that. And I'm going to grab my carving set, and I'm just going to slice it into strips. The crackling is not as crackling as I would have liked it, but the rest of the pork belly is just so juicy. So now for the big reveal. Let's have a bit of a taste. The fat didn't render as I expected it to, or as it did the last time. I think I might have waited with the heat too long. So what I suggest is when you get to the 2-hour mark, to really get some heat under the fat, get that to crispy up, and then it will be perfect. The other point I want to make is that when you do this, is not to put more coals on after the 2-hour mark. So after the 2-hour mark, you want to sort of just leave it. You're going to see there's no fat dripping. It's just going to look like just nothing's happening, but just leave it. And then after that 4-hour mark, and then it's probably good to go. So there you have it, folks. The 4-hour or 4.5-hour pork belly that I discovered by accident. Let us know what you think. Thanks.